Say that again. We didn't hear you online.
Growing the pie is a big one. That there is a lot of concern. It goes back to what Betsy was just saying, in fact, about they're taking our jobs. Well, it's not about immigrants taking a job and therefore there not being a job there anymore, but through entrepreneurism and actually through new population, what we do is we end up growing the pie. I'll hear people say, oh, well, they just started a Chinese restaurant and they hired other Chinese people, and that doesn't benefit us at all. Well, they buy the food at the local Walmart, they put gas in their car at the local gas station, they rent or buy a house. All of that is benefiting the wider economy. And so what they are doing is they are creating wealth for themselves and for the community through the business and through paying taxes. And they are also creating jobs for others as consumers out in the community.
More people is a good thing, Doug, you think, in terms of, we have a lot of empty buildings. We have schools that are closing because
we certainly have plenty of room for that. I mean, the city was 850,000 people, and it's 315,000 now. I think one of the things that we kind of need to step back and look at is what makes the region attractive, not just to immigrants, but to everybody. And I think that's the problem, is that we haven't sold St. Louis. I hear people say St. Louis, I don't think much of St. Louis. Well, that's not good. We need people that are out there cheerleaders saying St. Louis is a great place and here is why. The cost of living is cheap here. There's an opportunity for professional development here. There are great educational institutions here. But I don't hear St. Louis being on the short list of places that people want to move or places that people want to go to vacation. There's all of these things. I think there's a lot of instruments in place, but I don't think they're all sort of, if you want to use a music metaphor, I don't think they're all playing together, They're all a little out of tune.
Now, you're not suggesting there's fragmentation in the St. Louis region.
I am suggesting that, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Although I got to say, I feel like I'm obligated to bring this up because he said it on the show. Somebody mentioned Jim McKelvey, co-founder of Square,
Yep.
A ton of other things. Launch Code.
Yeah.
He's tired of us saying that we have a low cost of living. I don't know if that sparks anything on this conversation.
Well, we're paying arch grants. They offer money for people to come and start businesses because we believe that when they start businesses, it's good for the region and we hire more people. It's the same thing with immigrants, that we need them to come and we need them to understand that this is going to be a great place for them to be. And I think that's why the success stories that we can share of people who do move here and they're successful, those stories will breed more success.
One caveat, though, we don't pay the immigrants to come.
Correct.
That's another myth.
Yes.
They come under their own, with their own 2 feet or under their own steam at that
their own
point.
risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the big, questions I get in terms of myths are, well, how come immigrants start so many businesses? And the response, I'll get is, well, they get free, loans at that point. They get no interest loans. They get this and that. They do not. Absolutely not.
Sure.
They compete on the same level with anybody else in the community. If they come to the micro-lending program, for instance, that we have at the International Institute, they may be under collateralized or not have a credit history and come for a loan there. They're going to pay 4.5% higher than they would if they go to the bank for the money, but they have a good business plan at that point and they were willing to put in the sweat equity to make it work. That's very different from getting some kind of a handout. And immigrants are not used to getting handouts. That's not the way that they've operated in their own country, and it's not the way they operate here.
I'm guessing you have a passport.
Yes.
I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
Vin, passport, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends have passports? And how much of your life, this is one of those questions I start to ask, and I'm like, wait, is this inappropriate?
It's a friendly room.
Okay.
Has been spent at the customs office? Is that
No, that's good.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm just curious, how much of your circle of friends are Bosnian, have a similar cultural background as you, and or is that?
I think as I've grown, my involvement with the Bosnian Memory Project, it has grown more.
But growing up, not so much.
Not so much, because we moved to West County
Yeah.
very early, and again with the teenage angst, I wanted to suppress everything that had to do with Bosnia. But now that I'm maturing and as a millennial in this country, I'm growing my Bosnian pod, if you will. Yeah.
And for me, growing up in the St. Louis public schools, I mean, my best friend is mom immigrated from Romania. Another good friend of mine, his family immigrated here from Ethiopia. I mean, it really is the mosaic of St. Louis, just in growing up in the St. Louis public schools.